I'm Edie Lush, and I'm here in the Hub Culture Pavilion in Davos. Very pleased to be joined by Yasmine Shihata, the founder and CEO of Venus Media and PR, best known for Enigma magazine in the Middle East. So tell me, you're based in Egypt. What's business like these days?
I'm sure, as you know, we had the revolution hit all of us really hard, and just when we started recovering, we had a military coup or second revolution, depending on your political views.
Right.
So that hit us extra hard. So we've been basically just trying to keep going, as when you have a media business, every small factor affects sales, affects advertising, affects, especially because most of my advertisers are what you consider luxury goods in Egypt, at least. And so advertising is the easiest thing to cut in hard times.
Right. I was just in Cairo, in fact, at Christmas, and people I was talking to were saying that tourism was about 30% of what it had been before the revolution, and times were definitely very hard.
Yeah, yeah.
So tell me, what's it like running a business as a woman in the Middle East?
It's incredibly difficult, but I grew up in Vienna, Austria, and Washington, D.C. So when I moved back to Egypt after my first job was at Vogue. I was Anna Wintour's assistant for 11 months. And I moved back to Egypt having never actually lived there. So the good thing about being young and naive is you don't know what you're in for. So I kind of discovered the hard way. But what I had on my side was timing. When I moved to Egypt, there was no lifestyle magazines. So I think we filled a gap in the market, and we ended up succeeding very quickly at the time. And so before the revolution, we were actually doing really well. But as I was telling you, now I feel like a startup again.
Right. Yeah. So tell me about what's it like when you look for funding, for example, as a woman. Is it difficult to find? Do people take you seriously? What's it like?
Yeah, I think at the beginning that was a big challenge. Not even just for funding, just going for meetings in general. Especially, I was much younger then. Nobody in Egypt takes a young woman seriously that's calling herself an entrepreneur or businesswoman,
Yeah.
So that took a while. And I, being raised in the States, I was overly friendly. So I had to learn to sort of become more reserved, more businesslike, a bit more tough, which I wish we wouldn't have to do as women, but somehow that I found that's the best way to protect yourself and be taken seriously. And
what's it like just on the entrepreneurial side? It's tough. Are there also opportunities?
There are opportunities if you're incredibly self-determined. You're going to face a lot of challenges, even in the good times. So you really have to have that passion for it, because you don't have sort of the government funding or lots of VCs and like angel, investors that are waiting to invest in you. So you have to really believe in your idea. I think now, in the last few years, the idea of entrepreneurship is starting to be promoted by some companies, mainly for young graduates in Egypt. They're taking them and they're giving them an office space to work and things like that. So I think the future is positive.
Good. Tell me about. I'm wondering about a lifestyle magazine in an Islamic world. Is that tough?
Yeah, well, we go out of our way to promote a modern image of Arab women. So we always try to promote women who are working, that have careers, that are doing something interesting with their lives. Most of the women we feature are not veiled, but to be honest, we have nothing against veiled women. If there's a successful veiled woman, we feature her as well. And we just want women to feel empowered. The Middle East, the message in the Middle East usually tells you that to be a successful woman, you have to be married, a good marriage, and children. But we're trying to tell women that's great, and do that definitely, because family is great. But you can also have a career, you can also have a life, and you can also be independent in your own way. Like, you don't need to be dependent on your father or your husband for anything.
Yasmine, thank you so much for stopping by the Hub Culture Pavilion here in Davos. Absolutely fascinating. I'm Edie Lush.